here we have the inside of the 2018 Benimar Tessoro 494. If we firstly come to the main control panel, we can turn the 12 volt on by firstly pushing this button here, followed by this button here. Once we've done this, we can turn the water pump on and off just here. We need the water pump on so we can get water out of the taps, flush the toilet and fill the boiler if it's been drained down. Next we have awning light on and off, and then if we drop to the buttons on the bottom of the control panel, we have firstly condition of leisure battery, then we have condition of the vehicle battery, how much water is in the fresh tank, and then this last one here can control the illumination of the control panel itself. This light just here is letting us know that we have main supply connected to the motorhome, and a light will pop on here when we start the engine to let you know the alternator is charging the batteries. Whenever your waste tank needs emptying, a red light will begin to flash just here next to the waste tank symbol. When your fresh water drops from the last amber point into the red, this amber light here will flash to let you know you're getting low on water. And if either of the batteries again get low, again you will have flashing lights indicating. Beside the main control panel, we then have the Truma control panel for the heating and hot water. You will see it's currently displaying the time and again letting us know that we are hooked up to main supply. If we now push the button, you will see all of these icons appear, and as I rotate they will begin to flash. So if we start with the first icon just here, this one is for your heating. So if I now click on it, heating is off. All we now need to do is just rotate the button and pick whatever temperature we would like it to be inside the motorhome, and it will go right the way up to a rather toasty 30 degrees. So if I now click at 21 degrees, that's now stored in, and you'll see a flames appeared above. That's just letting you know that you've set the parameter, and when the heating now comes on, this will steadily flash, and it will continue to flash until it achieves the temperature you have asked it to. The thermostat is just here. If I now press the button again, we can then move across to hot water. And if I now click on it, hot water is off. Now rotate and you can basically put hot water in eco mode, which will give you a temperature of about 40 degrees. If I rotate again, you can heat in hot, which will give you a temperature of about 60 degrees. And you can also put it into boost mode. If you perform the boost and the heating is running, the heating will turn off as it needs to use that extra power to perform the boost. The boost is very handy if there's going to be more than one of you having showers in quick succession of each other, or if you just like a longer shower. After heating and hot water, we then have power source, and we're currently using mains electricity using 2 kilowatts. If I rotate the button, I can lower the power consumption to 1 kilowatt, which is handy if you are on a low amp site to try and avoid tripping. We can run in dual fuel, so we can run on a mixture of gas and mains at 2 kilowatts, or a mixture of gas and mains at 1. Dual fuel is extremely handy, especially in the winter months if you want to get up to temperature nice and quickly. It will only use the gas as it is required. And then lastly, if we do not have any main supply, we can solely run on gas. The last top icon is the circulation fan for the heating system. The fan is currently in eco. We can turn it up to high if required. If we now turn off both hot water and heating. And now return to the circulation fan. We can also use the fan to vent the motorhome on a warm day. It has a fan speed of 1 to 10. If we now drop to the bottom icons, this first one here is for a basic timer. So if I now click on it, we can set a start time. And we can then set an end time. Once we've done that, we can then just set whatever we would like within that time period. Lastly, timer on or off. If I now activate the timer icon will come up there, and then within that time period those settings would apply. If I now click on it again, we can turn it back off again, and when we go back in we can then alter it. After that we then have clock set. And then lastly we have the settings menu, and within that we have offset, which is just for the thermostat just there. If you don't think it's quite correct, you can just slightly adjust it. Temperature, just if you prefer it displayed in Celsius or Fahrenheit. Brightness of the screen. 12 or 24 hour clock. Language. Index, which is more for the technicians, it just lets them know what software is being run. And then lastly, full factory reset. From time to time these panels will throw up error codes, but they will usually be something relatively basic. So if you're running on main supply like we are at the moment and you trip or you pull the mains lead out, it's going to let you know that you've lost mains. And a warning triangle will appear where my finger is here, and if you click on it, it will display the error code. In the manual, or if you Google it, it will let you know exactly what the problem is. 9 times out of 10, as long as you rectify the problem, the error code will automatically disappear. If that doesn't happen, go back to the warning triangle and double press, and then it will sometimes say no error and disappear. If that still doesn't work, if you still have stuff running like I do at the moment, just turn them off, because it can reassess a lot faster when it's not trying to do lots of things at once. If this still doesn't work, I then suggest the good old-fashioned turn it off and turn it back on again. And the way we turn this completely off is just by pressing the button in and holding it until it says off. If when you turn it back on again you still have an error code, I then always suggest just doing the factory reset, because sometimes they just require a basic hard reset. The boiler itself is located just underneath the cushions here. As you can see, the boiler sits in the centre, and then just tucked here we also have the battery charger. We then have the 12 volt fuses just here, so if something's not working on 12 volt, just come and check to see whether you've blown a 12 volt fuse. Occasionally you can pop one of the yellow 20 amp fuses if you have too much stuff on the electric bed. If you put it up and the motor goes under too much stress, it will pop the fuse. And then lastly we have just here the main strip switches, no different than what you'd find in your house. So again, if something's not working on main supply, just check to see whether or not you've tripped. To drain the boiler for winterization, we have the drain valve just here. This particular valve is automatic, so if there's water in the boiler and it's closed and the temperature inside the van drops below 3 or 4 degrees, this valve will automatically open and drop the boiler If this happens, the little blue button at the bottom of the unit will just pop out, and to reset it all you need to do is push it back in again. If it will not stay in, it's just too cold in the van and you will need to turn the heating on to generate some heat. If we're going to manually drain it, firstly make sure the water pump is turned off, or otherwise it will just be trying to refill itself as it's dropping it. Come to the blue diamond and twist. As you can see, the blue button pops out of the bottom, and if I now want to reset it, we put it back to the position and press the button back in like so to reset it. We then make sure we have water in the fresh water tank, turn the water pump on, and then the water pump will begin to reprime the boiler back up again. We will then need to open up the taps to force the air out. Once the taps are running freely, we can then close back down again, and then the system will be fully primed. This motorhome is fully winterized, so you will find just tucked underneath the seat here there is a switch. When it's on, the light will come on, and this switch here is for the heater that is in the waste tank. So if you are using the van in extremely cold climate and you have water going into your waste tank, you can pop this on to avoid any frost damage. The freshwater tank does not have a heater in it, as it is an internal tank which is located under the travel seats just here. So again, if I now just remove the cushions, you will find the tank just here. We have the water pump just sitting on top, and we can also gain access to the freshwater tank just here if we want to add any cleaning powders to the system. If we're going to use both travel seats, we need to drop this section just here, and you will find underneath that there are two levers that need to be pulled, and then this section will drop out of the way. The electric bed operates on the switch just here. Before lowering, make sure that the sink glass is down. Full control over this, so as soon as you let go it will stop. You'll see that you have adjustable netting that can clip up all the way round. Ladder then hooks into these 2 points just here. If the bed was to fully malfunction, this can be wound up and down manually. We have the winding tool just here. If we now come to this section just here, you will find tucked up just up here a 13mm nut that can be wound. Next we have the Avtex TV. Behaves like any normal TV, on and off just here. This does have a DVD player in it, this side here, and also USB points. Behaves like any normal TV. We have the guide just here, and then just select OK. As this is a travel television, it will need to be retuned in as you change location. So if we just hold in this button just here, this takes us straight back to the retune menu, and then all we need to do is just hit OK, and it will then retune itself back in again. The actual television aerial itself is located above the microwave. So we have the digital amplifier just there, on and off on the side here, and control the boost just here. Also in here we have the solar panel regulator. We do not need to do anything with this, it will just let us know what it is up to. So you'll see that it's letting us know that UV light is hitting the panel, and that the actual regulator itself is in float mode at the moment, basically indicating that both batteries are as good as fully charged. Whenever it's popping the charge into the batteries, the green light will go out and an amber one will appear just here. If there's a problem with the panel, an alarm light will come on just here. In the centre you will find the iNet box for the Truma heating and hot water system. If you want to control it via the Truma app, firstly you will need to download the app onto your device. Once you've done this, you need to turn your Bluetooth on and then launch the app. Once it's loaded, you will see that there is a button that says remote control. If you push that, you then just need to follow the on-screen instructions. It will firstly tell you to come to this box and push the Bluetooth button just here. Once you've done this, it will send the Bluetooth signal out, and you will then be able to connect up and control your heating locally via Bluetooth. If you want to control it from further afield, you can purchase a pay-as-you-go SIM card, which slots in where my finger is just here. Register it through the app, and then you can control your heating and your hot water from much further afield. The microwave itself is also a grill and combi. Just press here to go between your power levels, the grill and the combination. We have quick start just here, and then we can also rotate for time as well. It is always advisable to make sure that everything has been removed for travel. Beneath it we have the Thetford fridge freezer, on and off on the button just here. So if I now hold it in, I can turn the unit off, and if I hold it back in again, we can turn it back on. This is an automatic model, so if I now press this button and put it onto auto, it will now find the best power source it can for us. So because we're currently hooked up to mains supply, it's put us directly onto mains. If I now ran outside and pulled the mains lead out, it would then automatically attempt to fire itself up onto gas, and as soon as I start the engine of the van, it will then automatically put itself over to 12 volt maintain to keep itself cold whilst on the move. I can take it out of auto, so I can manually put it onto mains. I can manually put it onto 12 volt maintain. It's going to flash and we're going to get an error code at the moment because the engine's not running. And I can manually put it onto gas. But auto is the easiest one to have it on. Temperature control just here. And then the last button controls the unit's anti-condensation jacket. The anti-condensation jacket is currently on. At this time of year now, it does not really need to be on as we are quite cold outside. So to turn it off, we just do this. The anti-condensation jacket definitely needs to be on like this when we are in the warmer seasons. It prevents a build-up of condensation behind the unit, which would then run down and form a puddle underneath it. We then have the freezer compartment and the fridge. Both fridge and freezer have little venting arms just here that can be clipped in to hold the fridge on a jar when not using. Because this is a very large fridge, you will see that it does have a secondary travel catch just at the bottom there. So if you do have a lot of stuff in it, you can flap this across to avoid it opening in transit. If we now come to the cutlery drawer, you will find the location for all of the gas isolation taps for the van. you'll see they are all in the on position, and quite frankly they can stay like that. I always say that these are more for maintenance, and if you smell gas in the van, always go to the source and turn the gas bottle off. We then have the sink, the extractor fan, light on and off just here, and then fan on and off here. We then have the 2 gas rings and 1 electric hot plate that will work on main supply, exactly the same as the microwave. On and off just here, red light comes on to let you know it's in operation. To operate the gas rings, push in, twist and push the igniter. Beneath it we then have the oven and the grill. Push in to the left for the oven, and if we then push in and go to the right, we can then fire up the grill. If we now walk into the bedroom area, we have the Thetford toilet just here. The bowl does swivel all about. Open to the cassette on the grey lever just here, and then push to flush just here. Make sure the water pump is on or else it will not flush. Close back up again. If this has been left open and you try to remove the cassette from the outside, it will not come out. So if you do feel resistance, just come in here and make sure nobody's left it open. Level indicator just here, so it will rotate round to red when the cassette needs emptying. We then have the basin, and then across we have the shower. Do make sure that the shower screen is fully clipped back for travel, as it is. To use it, just remove the flooring just here and the catch up here. We have 2 drawers beneath the bed, and you will see at the moment that the bed is in the upward position. If we now pull on the end, we can then drop it down. We then have the wardrobe this side, and the previous owner also purchased another freestanding table. And then storage this side. Underneath the carpets on both sides we do have storage in the floor. As I walk back through, if we then look up, we have the Omnivent fan. To operate this, wind just here. We then have roof fan on and off in the centre, and then we have arrows out for extraction, arrows in for cooling, variable fan speed just by pressing. Do make sure all roof vents are down for travel.